Hey, Shalom. Shalom, call Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Right, this is your brother War making a video to feed the sheep, right, to edify the lambs. Right, call Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Shalom to the Akim and Akwatim that are going to be watching this video. Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Brakathum. Call Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Right, and we get into that Christmas season, you know. It's a Shabbat, so I'm just thought I ought to just go into these books. Ain't on my computer right now. I'm just sitting in front of it on my bed, and as you can see, this is a student encyclopedia, right? Just trying to make it focus, right? So there's information on here documented by Esau going into Christmas to show that the scriptures is true, that it isn't a biblical holiday. Okay, that people like to make excuses and say, oh, it's for the kids, or I don't know, people always got some type of excuses, or that, oh, it's Jesus's birthday, right? But they can't go into the scriptures and show any scripture that says to celebrate Jesus's birthday or celebrate a holiday where you have to give each other gifts and set up a Christmas tree. But you can see a scripture that actually condemns it, but people don't care. These people don't care, right? And this is what Yahushua was speaking about, man. Let me get it in Mark 7, I believe. Maybe Mark 7 and 9. Right. Okay, right. This is Mark 7 and 6. And he answered and said unto them, well hath Isaiah prophesied of you hypocrites, as it is written, these people honoreth me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And that's the Christian church. These guys are always boasting themselves. We just seen a debate with the Christians putting Zechariah on the hot seat, asking him all types of questions and whatnot. And you come to realize, which you should have realized this before, that these Christians' whole doctrine is, and their whole premise, their whole fight is to try and promote sin. Their whole fight is to try and prove that it's okay to sin, right? They're coming up against the servants of the Most High because they want for you to be able to sin. Is all it really is. Like, that's what they're pushing the people to not keep the law, statutes, and commandments. That's their whole fight. They're so adamant. They're so hell bent on that. Well, they're worshiping him in vain, right? They're not even worshiping the Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. They're worshiping Jesus Christ, right? But at the same time, right, they think they're worshiping him, but they're doing it in vain because they're not keeping his commandments. So you're not worshiping him. You wish let's say for example, right? There's a deity, there's an idol that has different laws than the Most High, or it says you can worship. Says you can celebrate Christmas. Well, by default, you're already worshiping that other idol. You're not worshiping the Most High, right? Which pretty much this is what it's going into, anyways, right? Let me jump down to verse 7. Howbeit in vain do they worship me, teaching for doctrines the commandments of men. Right? This is a commandment of men. Christmas, birthdays, right? Easter, Valentine's Day. All these holidays are commandments of men. They're not in the scriptures, right? And these Christians will come up against you and find every reason to keep celebrating Christmas and be like everybody else on the earth, while boasting in themselves that they're different than everybody and that they're special, right? Right? What else are they doing? For laying aside the commandments of the Most High. Is that literally what they're doing? Ye hold the tradition of men as a washing of pots and cups, and many other such like things ye do. Oh, okay. Oh, Khan. Look at verse 9. And he said unto them, full well ye reject the commandment of the Most High Yahweh, that ye may keep your own tradition. Right, so that's what we out here telling them. We trying to show our people, bro. You guys are dishonoring the Most High. You're not keeping His commandments, and you're keeping traditions, pagan customs that have nothing to do with the scriptures. Like, no, it doesn't matter. Everything's changed. You don't have to. Why you guys say you love the Most High so much? Why don't you keep the Passover? Why don't you keep the Feast of Tabernacles? Right? Why don't you keep? It's another high holy feast day. I don't know why I can't think of them off the top of my head. Right? But they don't keep none of these holy feast days or or holy days. They keep whatever's promoted in the society, which every single holiday or most of them comes from a pagan custom. But I don't. So why are you keeping it, right? And that goes for people. Sorry to keep on ranting, but this also goes for people who claim to be atheists, right? They're celebrating a holiday that goes back to an ancient worship of a god, right, or a deity or an idol. But you say you don't believe in a higher power, so why are you celebrating Christmas or Valentine's Day or all these other holidays, right, which go back to pagan worship, right? This is Matthew 7. I'll get this precept. Actually, yeah, this is still good to bring out. Matthew 7:13. Enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate, and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. There's not gonna be some grand number of Christians being saved, right? Even if Christianity were the way, well, one of the denominations has to be true because he said it isn't broad. The way isn't broad. So one of the denominations, whether you Catholic, Jehovah's Witness, one of them have to be true, right? Because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. So he already says that few there be that find it. Most people are gonna get caught up and destroyed out here. So now let's go into it a little bit. Right, this says the history of Christmas. In the early days of Christianity, it became customary to honor saints, martyrs, and other distinguished personages on the anniversary of their death rather than on the date of their birth. Right? So it says birthday celebrations were a pagan custom because prior to that, they already knew that birthday celebrations were a pagan custom. Right? So if a Christian tries to say that, okay, well, we celebrate Christmas because it's Jesus' birthday. Well, I don't know how a old man coming down your chimney and giving you gifts has to do with Jesus' birthday, but let them do what they want to do. But well, it says in the scriptures not to celebrate. It says in the scriptures that celebrating birthdays is going off, right? Where is it? It's Job 1. Okay, it says Job 1:4. And his sons went and feasted in their houses, every one his day, which in other translations it'll clearly tell you it means birthday, which that's what your day, his day is, your day is your birth, the day of your birth. And sent and called for their three sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so, when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up early in the morning and offered burnt offerings according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned and cursed the Most High in their heart. Thus did Job continually. Right, so that's what they did when they sinned, was celebrating their birth, the day of their birth, which is a pagan custom. So that goes to show you already in the scriptures that celebrating birthdays was off, without you having to go and look up that birthday celebrations is a pagan custom, right? And it says early Christian theologians were therefore strongly opposed to them. Right, despite this opposition, many Christians have begun to observe a festival for the birth of Christ by about 200 AD. Since the precise date of Christ's birth is not known, and was not known in 200 AD, different local churches observed the feast of the Nativity at different times. So nobody knew when the day of his birth was. It doesn't mention it. It only mentions the time that he died. Really? Well, it mentions the time. Well, it mentions the time where he was born, time he died, but it doesn't give us a specific date. Right? Despite this opposition, many Christians have begun to observe a festival for the birth of Christ by about 200 AD. So they didn't care. These people didn't care. They wanted to celebrate birth. They wanted to boast themselves in their wickedness, right? So they did it. Anyway, since the precise date of Christ's birth is not known, it was not known in 200 AD, different local churches observed the Feast of the Nativity at different times. So people were celebrating it maybe in the summer season, some people in the winter, other people in fall, other people in spring, right? About 350 AD, Pope Julius I declared that December 25th was the true date of the Nativity. That's a devil. That's a devil who just comes in out of nowhere and says, yeah, December 25th is the date of his birth. Right? He's lying. Right? By the end of the 4th century, the date had already been adopted by every church in the West, in the East, in the West. In the East, the churches of Jerusalem and Armenia continued to celebrate the Nativity on January 6th, the date associated with the baptism of Hamashiach. Right? So all the churches went with it. This was just a traditional custom that that everyone started to go with at this time. By this time. Okay, so Christmas is still observed on this date in the Armenian church. It is also celebrated on January 6th in some of the other Eastern churches. December 25th was an important holiday. Look at how this is how this is bolded. Right? It says December 25th was an important holiday long before the rise of Christianity. The Romans knew it as Natalis Solis Invicti, the day of the birth of the unconquered sun. Right? So it was known way before the Romans. I think it even goes back to, if you do the research, I believe it may, because the customs of it goes back to even before, but Babylon. The first Babylon. Right? The Babel Tower. Right? The Romans knew it was Natalis Solis Invicti, the day of the birth of the unconquered sun. On this day, they gave thanks to the lengthening period of daylight that seemed to mark the rebirth of the sun, right? Because right now, you got what's it called? Daylight time saving, right? The sun goes down. It gets dark around like 5 o'clock right now, right? But around December 25th, the day that the sun is out, the time that the sun is out starts to increase. It starts to go back up till it gets back to how it is, where it's either it evens out or it's longer in the day than it is in the night, right? And that's these people worshiping the host of heaven, right? The creations, not the creator. Right, on this day they gave thanks to the lengthening periods of daylight that seemed to mark the rebirth of the sun. Natalis Solis Invicti fell during the great Roman winter festival, the Saturnalia. Look it up. It's a bunch of pagan rituals and reveling that was going on. But coincidentally, this is when the Messiah was born. So we gotta celebrate. We gotta celebrate on this time, right? You see these people, man? You see this? You see this wickedness? It was also the Roman it was also the most important feast day of the Mithraic religion, one of the chief rivals of early Christianity. Right? So all these stuff that they just mixing in a bunch of paganism and say that, oh yeah, this Most High's dealing with it, don't worry. And people just run with it. They don't care. And they try and boast. These people, the same people, will boast themselves in it. They just unwillingly and blindly say and say, "Oh yeah, we celebrate December 25th because it's the birth of Christ." And they don't. And first of all, the Most High doesn't say to celebrate no birthdays. Second, He says it's not celebrate Christmas. All right, the leaders of the early church willingly accepted December 25th as the most probable date of Christ's birth. The Christian festival could be now listen to this. The Christian festival could be substituted for heathen celebrations, which that's what it's substituting. And Christ could replace pagan deities without completely changing the form of worship. Damn. Right? During the Middle Ages, Christmas became the most popular festival of the year. It continued to flourish until the rise of Protestantism in the 16th century. Some Protestant theologians objected to the extravagant feasting and revelry associated with the holiday. They also attacked such originally pagan customs as the use of Christmas trees and mistletoe. What are these? They're looking at us like we're crazy when we're trying to bring this out to them, though. This is the madness of this world, right? Let me get another precept. This is the madness of the world, Achium and Aquathium. Don't let nobody tell you crazy for keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. This is why it says, "Is few there be that find it," because you have the faith that the Most High is. You having faith in keeping these law, statutes, and commandments, and the Most High for you having faith in Him, knowing that you keeping His commandments is gonna get you saved, right? The faith the faith and the works go together. It's in Corinthians. Right, 1 Corinthians 3 is what I want. Man, this is crazy. Like, this is absolutely crazy. You got people got all types of wisdom, knowledge. You got all these books. People pay. Let me read this precept, man. This is 1 Corinthians 3 and 16. Is it? There it is. 1 Corinthians 3 and 18. Let no man deceive himself. If any man among you seem to be wise in this world, let him become a fool that he may be wise. Right? For the wisdom of this world is foolishness with the Most High. For it is written, He taketh the wise in their own craftiness. Right? This is the wisdom of this world. Oh, Christ was born December 25th. The celebration, the Christmas has nothing to do with pagan worship. It's all about celebrating Christ. Where the Most High says birthdays is wicked, right? So what does this have to do with the scriptures? Nowhere in the Bible does it say to celebrate His birthday. But they don't care. They don't care. They're deceiving themselves, man. So this what's going on, man. You get this, 1 Corinthians 2 and 27. But the Most High hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. And the Most High hath chosen the weak things of the world to confound the things which are mighty, and base things of the world, and things which are despised hath the Most High chosen, yea, things that are not, to bring to naught things that are. That's the Israelites coming out on the scene right now. We're despised, we're base, we're the lowly, we're the meek, we're the humble. Right? They look at us as uneducated, right? A bunch of niggas, right? They look at us like we're nothing, like we're garbage. We're just slaves. What can these guys tell us? When all we doing is reading the scriptures and we showing you with your own documents. But when they get confounded, so they gotta go back and they gotta start studying, and then come up again and just to get confounded again. Right? Let's keep on going. So we just read how the Christmas tree was a pagan, and this is going into a book, right? We could show them in the scriptures, but people won't believe it if we show them in the scriptures. If you don't believe it in the scriptures, you definitely have to believe it here. Right? So such originally pagan customs as the use of Christmas trees and mistletoes. Right? It says from 1642 to 1652, they issued a series of laws forbidding all Christmas church services and festivities. After the English monarchy was restored in 1660, Christmas celebrations revived. The Pilgrim settlers in America brought with them the Puritan views that had led to the suppression of Christmas in England. In 1659, they passed a law forbidding Christmas observances in their settlements. Although the law was replaced in 1681, Christmas was not widely celebrated in New England area until the middle of the 19th century. Among the other colonists, such as the Dutch, the Germans, and the English royalists, the Christmas traditions were always maintained. Right? In the United States today, Christmas is again the most popular festival of the year. Right? Heathen, you got other nations coming in who don't celebrate, whose culture isn't to celebrate Christmas or Easter or any of these abominations, but they come over here and they celebrate it. You telling me Babylon ain't the whore? Right? Some churchmen, however, often point out that its religious meaning is obscured by advertising, popular music, and secular greeting cards. Other clergymen take a more optimistic view, believing that those who wish to can find ample opportunity to observe Christmas in a religious spirit. Despite the arguments that have been made against them, Christmas celebrations have continued to flourish, and people undoubtedly enjoy them for many years to come. Right? That's that broad gate that leads to destruction. Right, so we've seen that it's Christmas trees are pagan, right? Mistletoes are pagan. Now let's get into scriptures for the final cut. This Christmas tree goes back even before the Roman and the Greek Empire. But people looking at us like we're crazy. We don't got no understanding of the scriptures. They hate the Most High. That's what it really is. This is Jeremiah 10:1. Hear ye the word which the Most High Yahweh speaketh unto you, O house of Israel. See, he's speaking to the Israelites here. Thus saith Yahweh, learn not the way of the heathen, and be not dismayed at the signs of heaven, for the heathen are dismayed at them. Right? We just read how the one of the festivals was because of the sun, the lengthening periods of the day of the sun. Right? For the customs of the people are vain. For one cutteth the tree out of the forest, the work of the hands of the workman with the axe. They deck it with silver and with gold. They fasten with nails and with hammers that it move not. They are upright as the palm tree, but speak not. They must needs be born, because they cannot go. Be not afraid of them, for they cannot do evil, neither also is it in them to do good. It's just an object, man. It has no life in it. Right? So that's what it is. There's the Christmas tree right there. It's showing you, this is back in the book of Jeremiah. Showing you that the Christmas, our people were taking the Christmas trees, cutting it up and fastening it and decking it with silver and with gold like people do today. People doing it today, right? Which it goes to show you that it had had a meaning behind it while they were doing it back then. This goes back to idolatry. Right? And I believe I'll do some more research on it, but I've seen some stuff saying that it had to do with like a trinity where the spirit of one of the idols was born after he died, was born into the tree, something like that, right? Between a man, his mom, and him being reborn in the tree, right? So I'll do some research on it so I can make a video on it. But yeah, this is just wanting to go into that. This Christmas, the spirit of Christmas is coming up, and that Black Friday, that all that stuff. These people are gonna be going crazy to go buy their consumer products and goods. But don't let nobody deceive you, man. Don't let nobody deceive you, telling you this madness that it's okay to celebrate these things. No, the Most High is not dealing with it. Right? This is how you know you're celebrating, you're worshiping the Most High. Right? Last precept. This is in John 4, man. The classic. This is John chapter 4 and verse 21. Yahweh saith unto her, Woman, believe me, the hour cometh when ye shall neither in this mountain nor yet at Jerusalem worship the Father. Ye worship ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. Right? Yahweh said salvation is of the Jews. He didn't say salvation is of everybody. That salvation is of the Gentiles. He said salvation is of the Jews. Right? But we know what we worship. We keep the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? But the hour cometh, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth, for the Father seeketh such to worship him. Right? There's a precept that says, save yourself from this it was in Acts. Come on. Save yourself from this generation. And how are we doing it? In spirit and in truth. Worshiping the Most High in spirit and in truth. Keeping the law, statutes, and commandments. Right? Where is it? Acts 3 or is it Acts 2? Okay, here it is. Acts 2 and 40, right? And with many other words did he testify and exhort, saying, save yourselves from this untoward generation. Right? This is what we doing out there on the street corners, trying to warn our people, saying, save yourselves from this generation that's going to be judged. Right? Then they that gladly received his word were baptized, and the same day they were added unto them about 3,000 souls. Right? Which that's going into those 3,000 souls that were saved. Those same souls are here today. So when they hear this word, they're gonna be baptized and repent and keep the law, statutes, and commandments. But we don't know who those souls are. But from what we can see from works, man, you're gonna have to say that those are the Israelites doing the work till this, right now, this day, right? So with that, I want to say, Kal Halal Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. Hope you guys are edified, right? And shalom.